What's going on, everybody? This is Way Watcher here. A lot of people know me for what I'm doing currently, which is the D&D TTRPG scene. Some people might have known me from Pride Stark Empire when we were going through the COVID era, but my origins is really in Blizzard games. World of Warcraft, StarCraft II, StarCraft 1 even. Brood War was a little bit for me. I mean, I didn't really get into the StarCraft scene until StarCraft 2, but I did help watch and coach a lot of StarCraft Brood War players. But World of Warcraft was really like the genesis of me getting into gaming, me getting into the esports scene, me really doing anything in this industry. And now it's pretty much 20 years later, and I'm still here. I'm still kicking around. I'm still helping people do things, and I was told that I should watch this Blizzard is worse than you thought video and react to it. And I haven't done stuff like this in a long time, so this will be kind of my first one out the gate in a long time. But let's go ahead and switch over and let's see what we think.
And a once beloved game developer's reputation is in absolute freefall. What was at one point probably the highest rated developer in the industry, a studio that pumped out classic after classic, has now become the home of incomprehensible horror. Corporate greed, broken promises, botched releases, stolen breast milk. This is the story of Blizzard Entertainment.
Man, I know they're going to touch on it, but Overwatch was like one of the biggest letdowns ever for me. I was so hype for the Overwatch train, and Blizzard Activision just ran that train into a wall and laughed at everybody who cared about it, let me tell you. Early Blizzard.
The year is 1991, and three guys have just graduated from the University of California. Alan Adham, Michael Morhaime, and Frank Pierce. They get together to create a game development studio in Irvine called Silicon and Synapse. The name is deeply philosophical and well thought out, with Silicon representing the building block of a computer, and Synapse the building block of a brain. However, people keep mistaking the silicon part for the material in breast implants. Anyway, they spent the first few years porting games to different systems, but soon begin producing their own original games, with The Lost Vikings in 1992 and Rock and Roll Racing in 1993. Eventually, they get sick of constantly being mixed up with women's breasts, so they decide to switch things up, changing their name to Chaos Studios. However, a company based in Florida already has the trademark, and are now asking for $100,000. They then decide to change the studio's name to Ogre Studios. But in 1994, they're acquired by a holding company for a few $1 million.
Bad name.
And turns out, their new owners aren't a fan of the new name.
Yeah.
Okay. So they flip through a dictionary, and, oh my god, there it is. In 1994, Blizzard releases their first self-published title, a real-time strategy game called Warcraft Orcs and Humans, and it's an instant success. It's one of the earliest real-time strategy games to hit shelves, and it's a blast. It also has a modem and LAN multiplayer, meaning people can get together and go ham. And the game does well, selling 100,000 copies in the first year. And for the first time, Blizzard Entertainment is profitable. They follow it up with Warcraft II in 1995.
Yep.
It's another home run. Critically acclaimed, and now selling over 1 million copies in its first year. Nice. It's now 1996, and a company called Condor Games is looking for a publisher for their nearly complete game, Diablo. Blizzard has a little look, and they like. So they buy them and rename them Blizzard North. It's also at this point that Blizzard notices something. Warcraft II had picked up a lasting online player base, mostly through third-party networks that connected players over this magic new thing called the internet. So they decide to make their own, Battle.net. Its original functionality is very simple, with the ability for players to chat to each other and search for a match. But on December 31st, 1996, it launches alongside Diablo, and people log on and play. Diablo is a massive hit, also selling over 1 million copies within its first year. In 1998, Blizzard launches StarCraft, an RTS set in space.
Oh yeah.
It sells bigly, and quickly grows a massive esports scene. Diablo II launches in 2000, another smash hit. It reaches almost 3 million sales by the end of the year, becoming the fastest selling PC game of all time. In 2002, Warcraft is back, and now it has an extra dimension. Warcraft 3 sells 1 million units in just 1 month, immediately becoming the new fastest selling PC game. It also releases with a campaign editor, which spawns a series of popular mods like Defense of the Ancients. And after its expansion in 2003, it's all hands on deck for Blizzard's next project. The year is 2004, and Blizzard is getting ready to release its biggest game yet.
So 2004 is when I got into World of Warcraft. I was sitting in college, and my roommate was playing the beta, and somehow I got sucked into it. It's a long story, but this is when it is. I will say though that before that, I knew who Blizzard was because of StarCraft. I used to go home with my friends on the bus in high school, and I would go to their house, and they all played StarCraft, a couple of them at least, and I would watch them play StarCraft and remark about it, but then we would go out and play in the woods or do whatever, or go play friggin' football or whatever. But they would always while I knocked out my homework on his bed, he would always, instead of doing his homework, play a couple games of StarCraft or one game of StarCraft while I did that, and then we'd go outside and play and have whatever. And then there were sometimes even me and my other friends would get really, really annoyed at my one friend because we'd all be, watching TV during sleepovers or whatever, and he would be over on this computer off on the side, and I swear we would be like, "Yo, it's been 5 hours and you haven't said anything to us, bro." And he would just be like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry, I forgot, blah blah blah." And he's just playing this video game off to the side. He was sucked into StarCraft. It was amazing, but it's the way it was. It's the way Blizzard games are made. They're made to be addictive.
They'd seen how big MMOs like EverQuest were getting and thought they'd try their hand. And after $60 million and 5 years of work, it's finally nearing release. And in November 2004, World of Warcraft launches. And it takes the world by storm, smashing even Blizzard's forecasts. There are so many players trying to log on in the first week that their servers have a complete meltdown, with server queues reaching the thousands. Get past the queues and actually into a game? Well, now you're greeted with a ton of latency issues and a probable disconnection, meaning you're now back on that queue screen. After the initial server problems are ironed out and people can actually play, the game sucks people in en masse. Fans are very enthusiastic. It hoovers up awards left, right and centre, and sells a ton of copies, reaching almost 6 million sales by the end of its first year. World of Warcraft isn't like your average game though. Instead of simply buying a copy, players have to pay a $15 monthly subscription fee to play. 6 million times 15 every month, and Blizzard isn't doing too badly. Everyone is playing the game, and its ads go on to feature a ton of celebrities.
I'm Chuck Norris, and I approve this game.
And others like Vin Diesel, William Shatner, Henry Cavill, Mila Kunis, and Dave Chappelle announce their addictions in various interviews. World of Warcraft is everywhere.
God fucking damn it!
The Aubrey Plaza commercials were my favorite, but I also really liked the other ones that they were doing. But hers were so deadpan funny. It was amazing. And if you have never seen them, go on YouTube and look up the Aubrey Plaza World of Warcraft commercials. They were incredible.
World of Warcraft would also result in the launch of BlizzCon in 2005, a massive annual convention that would feature big musical acts and announcements for Blizzard's future games. Fans could also ask the devs questions, and were sometimes even featured. At this point, Blizzard is among the all-time greats of gaming. Every game a smash hit. They could do no wrong.
It's true. There's like 5 million of them in Japan. And in Tokyo, there's a place called Shibuya. Oh my.
Vivendi offers to merge their gaming subdivision with Activision, with Vivendi owning a majority share in the resulting company. And after a brief hesitation from Kotick, in 2008, the deal closes. Activision Blizzard opens its doors with Kotick as CEO, and Activision and Blizzard now its two subsidiaries. Blizzard would supposedly retain most of its autonomy and keep their CEO, co-founder Michael Morhaime. It's now 2010, and Blizzard has gone from just under 500 employees before the launch of World of Warcraft to now over 4,600, the majority of whom are preparing for the launch of StarCraft II in July, and the third major Warcraft expansion, Cataclysm, in December. Now these launches were not small. Warcraft had been...
You know, it's wild because Cataclysm, I played the very, very, very beginning. Like, we played the launch week of Cataclysm. We leveled all the way out, and we got to the first, like main, set of instances, and we did the first guild thing of Cataclysm. But Cataclysm launch was horrible for me because that was when I found out some of the shit that was going on at Blizzard that was just horrendously to hear. I used to have a liaison. I had a friend, and she worked there at Blizzard, and she talked horrible about how it was. And then a bunch of my guildies were talking about this game called League of Legends, which was brand new. And we all switched to Riot's League of Legends. I mean, in Cataclysm, I dropped that game. I dropped Blizzard's everything so hard that I didn't come back to Blizzard until I played the very, very beginning of StarCraft II, but I walked away from just a dynasty, which World of Warcraft was for me. But it's neither here nor there, I guess.
Hitting peak after peak of players, and was now at 12 million monthly subscribers, and StarCraft 2's sales projections are also sizable. But Blizzard currently has a problem. Their forums. They're a little bit toxic. Blizzard has a big team of moderators, but according to them, this still wasn't enough. So behind the scenes, they get brainstorming, and someone has a brilliant idea. How about we just force everyone that posts on our forums to use their real first and last name? Genius. And in July 2010, Real ID is unveiled. And people absolutely hate it. So in an attempt to sell the idea to players, Blizzard's community manager posts his full name on the forum. See guys, it's fine. But almost instantly, people descend on the forum and get to work. And within mere minutes, they find and publish his home address, phone number, age, Facebook, family names, and a list of his favourite music and movies. Okay, you know what? Fair enough. And after just a few days of being announced, Real ID is scrapped entirely. By 2009, the Warcraft 3 mod Defense of the Ancients had gained a significant following, and had even spawned a whole new genre of games, MOBAs. For much of that time, Blizzard had paid little attention to the mod or the game, but the success of the recently launched League of Legends could no longer be ignored. And Blizzard finally steps in, starting work on their take on the genre, titled Blizzard Dota. Around the same time, and Valve wants to make their own MOBA. They'd hired the head dev of the original Dota mod, snapped up the Dota trademark, and they're calling their new game Dota 2. Blizzard is furious. So in 2012, they file a statement of opposition, arguing that the name Defense of the Ancients was associated exclusively with Warcraft due to it being made in their map editor. However, this argument has issues. See, the mod was created in Warcraft 3's map editor, but that map editor had no specific terms and conditions on ownership of said maps, IP, and concepts. They end up settling out of court a few months after, with Valve getting the commercial rights to the term Dota, and Dota 2 releases in 2012. It's massively successful, and goes on to be an esports giant. Blizzard gets non-commercial use of the title for its community and renames Blizzard Dota to Heroes of the Storm, which releases in 2015, and support is canned 3 years later. Blizzard would change its licensing agreements for all future games to include their ownership of player-created maps in an attempt to avoid this ever happening again. It's 2012, and the massively anticipated sequel to Diablo II is looking like it's releasing this year.
Ooh,
its development had been a bit
horrible.
rocky, with its dev team, Blizzard North, being canned in
This was so
2005, along with their version of the game. But on the 15th of May 2012, the rebooted Diablo III launches. The game is horrendous. For one, its launch is horrific. The game is online only, and turns out there are massive server issues. People are spamming their login details over and over, only to be kicked out by error 37. What's worse, there's no queue system in place, so you have to manually retry every minute. This issue takes over a week to fix. Then there's the auction house. Here, loot can be bought and sold using your mum's credit card. Activision Blizzard gets filthy rich, while the balancing gets obliterated. Endgame content is also essentially non-existent. However, the game sells almost 4 million copies in its first 24 hours, and over time, slowly makes a turnaround. In 2014, the real money auction house is closed, and Blizzard launches Reaper of Souls, an add-on praised almost unanimously. They're ready to make a second add-on to the game, but management says no. Apparently, executives see the game as a massive failure, and demand devs jump ship. The year is now 2015. The past 10 years had seen massive expansions to Warcraft, including controversial changes to the game and its mechanics, and player numbers reflect that, now being in steep decline. A growing number of players long to go back to the days of vanilla, version 1 of the game, back in 2004. One fan even floats the idea to Blizzard themselves at BlizzCon 2013. Here's how that goes.
Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions as they were then?
No.
Okay then, we'll just make one ourselves. And the fan-made Nostalrius vanilla server goes online in February 2015, running version 1.12, a month after the original launch. It's not long before the server gets massively popular, with almost 1 million accounts registered. It's also not long before Blizzard catches wind and brings the hammer down. Their lawyers sent them a cease and desist in 2016, and the server is promptly shut down. Realizing they were completely wrong about vanilla Warcraft, Blizzard do a full 180 and announce Warcraft Classic in 2017.
Yeah, I remember this BS.
Back in 2007, Blizzard started work on a huge MMO called Project Titan. It was described as a combination of Left 4 Dead, Team Fortress, and The Sims. But development led nowhere, and 6 years later, the plug is pulled. A massive failure on Blizzard's part, and a major internal embarrassment. However, the team behind it would attempt to rework the remains of the story and assets into another project, and in 2016, Overwatch hits shelves. And it's amazing. It's critically acclaimed across the board, and massively popular, quickly becoming one of the most popular esports titles on the market. That, paired with their genre-pioneering card game Hearthstone back in 2014 that now has almost 100 million players, and Blizzard is looking strong. However, there are problems brewing. See, Overwatch was the last big game they'd had in the pipeline for a while, and they realised they don't have much to show off for BlizzCon 2018. So Blizzard rushes to find something to show off. Got it. Fast forward to November 2018, and their presentation is ready to go. They sprinkle a few niche announcements here and there, like a remastered Warcraft 3, but they have one big announcement centerpiece. After 6 long years,
So bad.
a brand new Diablo.
So bad.
For mobile.
They were booed.
Like, look, Diablo 2, come play the mobile game that has nothing to do...
I'm amazed, honestly, it's this bad. This is fucking insane. I don't even know, like, what to even say about this.
Just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC. Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
The game eventually launches, and it's bad. Firstly, it's not even developed by Blizzard, but their Chinese partner NetEase, and turns out it's monetized to the tits. It costs over $500,000 to max out a single character, and becomes the worst rated game ever on Metacritic. Fans are noticing something. Activision Blizzard had been creeping, and Blizzard was changing. See, back in 2013, Activision had bought back the remaining Vivendi shares for about $7 billion, meaning they, and by extension, Bobby Kotick, now had complete control of both Activision and Blizzard. Fast forward to 2018, and this creeping had only got worse. Because of the slowdown in game releases, Blizzard's revenues are taking an absolute nosedive. So Activision steps in. It pushes the company to cut costs, and gets them to produce games at a faster pace, with Kotick apparently installing his own executives within Blizzard to ensure that happens. Apparently, tired of Activision's meddling, Blizzard co-founder Mike Morhaime steps down as president and CEO, and leaves the company after 27 years of work. He's succeeded by Warcraft's executive producer, J. Allen Brack. This guy.
And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
And as soon as this happens, we accelerate. The company immediately prioritizes cutting costs, and the Heroes of the Storm's development team is outright annihilated. Its esports league is also scrapped right before its 2019 season. As a result, entire teams, commentators, and support staff are suddenly left jobless. And despite 2018 being a record year for Activision profits, they lay off 800 employees, almost 10% of the company. They begin rehiring the exact same jobs a couple of years later. So going into 2019, people are not happy. But turns out, over on the other side of the world, and things are happening in Hong Kong, they're not good. Their government has proposed a bill that would give China more authority over them, and that's not too popular. At the same time, Hong Kong native Blitz Chung is participating in Hearthstone's esports league. He wins, and uses the post-game interview to show his support for the protests. But as soon as he says it, something happens. See, Blizzard has a huge player base in China, and to keep that player base available to them, they have to bend over backwards for the Chinese government. So when this happens, they go scorched earth. They take the livestream down seconds after he says it, slap him with a year-long ban, and even confiscate his prize money. Even the guys casting the stream are fired. It's not long before the internet catches wind, and people are furious. At one point, even Congress members have a go. After a few days of pressure, J. Allen Brack eventually comes out. He reduces the ban to half a year, and grants Blitz Chung his prize money back. He also says that Blizzard's relationships with China had no influence on their decision. Blizzard is starting to look seriously not cool, so they decide to go into BlizzCon 2019 with the big guns, announcing Diablo IV and Overwatch 2. Also, that Warcraft remaster they'd announced at the infamous 2018 BlizzCon is coming out next year. This'll be good. Back in 2015, Blizzard had set up a subdivision to remaster old games, the first of which would be Warcraft III. And in January 2020, the highly anticipated remaster launches. And
it was garbage.
Oh boy, the game is beyond terrible. Here's why. Before launch, Warcraft 3's advertising touted multiple new features. Over 4 hours of cinematic new cutscenes, more story, and new voice acting. And a complete campaign overhaul, changing the story to be more in line with the current Warcraft lore. But when players log on, turns out absolutely none of this is in the game. This is after being advertised on the website for over a year. Liar! There's also a ton of features from the original Warcraft 3 just outright missing. Here are a few of them. No ranked play?
No.
No profiles?
No.
No account stats?
No.
No custom campaign?
No.
No clans?
No.
No cross-region play for custom games?
No.
And no offline play?
No.
It's possible after a few patches, but it's a little complicated. Also, after some digging, people realise the main menu background is actually a Chrome-based web app, and is taking up more of your CPU power than the actual game. Online matchmaking sucks and kicks you out all the time. This is without a way to reconnect, by the way. Graphics are worse than advertised.
Treason! Have you lost your mind, Arthas?
The new art direction is bad. 5 of the game's maps are exactly the same as the original, and poor optimization, tons of crashes, and countless bugs. On top of all of that, Reforged is a mandatory update for everyone with the original game. Own the original with no intention of upgrading? Well, here's an additional 30GB of install size anyway. All of this amounts to one of the worst launches of a game in history. Within a few days of release, it ends up at 0.5 out of 10
It was
Metacritic.
so bad. It was so
8
bad.
Sleep pod cover. It's a liquid-cooled mattress topper that's
Man, I
clinically
remember
proven
that
to give
too,
you
like-
better sleep. So let me tell you why I love
At the time,
I had so many of my friends who were so into this. They were so ready. They talked about it for years. My gosh. And this game came out and they were all ready for it, and I had a friend who literally just quit like 45 minutes in. He was just like, no, this is not anything that I wanted. And man, it was just it was one of the biggest blowers they ever seen. It was so bad. And what's funny about this is around the time that Hearthstone really got dry. So all the people that were playing Hearthstone were kind of like, oh well, let's go check out, Reforged. Let's see how this goes. Like, not all of us, but a lot of us that were. And I think I quit Hearthstone right around the time this happened too. So it really was just like this max exodus away from Blizzard at this moment. It was really kind of crazy.
The lowest Metacritic score in history, before being dethroned by Diablo Immortal. So naturally, hordes of people pile in to request refunds. But wait, you've booted up the game even just once? Sorry, you're not allowed. There's so much outcry about the game, however, that Blizzard eventually caves and starts actually granting refunds. The game is so bad that the entire classic games division at Blizzard is completely canned.
You're fired! Get out of here!
It also causes an upcoming Diablo II remake to be pushed back more than a year. So it's 2021, and Blizzard's reputation is currently abhorrent. But luckily, Overwatch 2 is just around the corner. Hold on a sec. Oh god. Turns out that over the last 2 years, the California Civil Rights Department had been investigating Activision Blizzard due to multiple reports of sexual harassment from staff. And by July 2021, they had enough evidence to file suit. The lawsuit states that sexual harassment, unwanted advances, and groping are common within Blizzard, both before and after the merge. This includes the mention of an executive suite.
What's insane about this, though, is this is what I was talking about when we left during Cataclysm. So when I quit playing World of Warcraft around Cataclysm is when my friend who worked there, she had said, this was all going on. That was like 2009-ish, 2010-ish. Like, it was ridiculous. I don't remember when Cataclysm came out, but like it was somewhere around that area. And it's just sad that it took them until 2021 to get through this.
At 2013's BlizzCon. It's not a nice place. In fact, some employees literally dub it the Cosby Suite. Then there's the alleged underpaying of women, and complaints to both HR and the president repeatedly being ignored. But there was something else. The employees' breast milk. It keeps being stolen. In the lawsuit, more than one employee alleges breast milk theft. It was very clearly breast milk, in baggies with a baby's face on it, a former producer claims. One day, I went to retrieve my pumped supply at the end of the day, and it was gone. The fallout is monumental, and makes headlines industry-wide. Few people are spared. Current Diablo IV lead, gone. His character's name in Overwatch, also gone. Level designer on World of Warcraft, gone. Head of HR, definitely gone. Warcraft League, gone. J. Allen, gone. Their chief legal, gone. The Wall Street Journal also alleges that Kotick knew about the whole thing, ignored it, and in some cases, even jumped in himself. He denies most of the allegations.
I did not.
But eventually apologizes for a one-time instance where he left a voicemail threatening to have his assistant killed. That's all fine then. Water under the bridge. Sponsors like T-Mobile, Coca-Cola, Kellogg, IBM and Pringles also all jump ship from the Overwatch esports league. And Activision Blizzard is hit with a class action lawsuit on behalf of its shareholders.
What?
Overall, the situation's not looking great. Activision Blizzard denies most of the claims, and in June 2022, they investigate themselves and find no wrongdoing.
This city is under siege by an army of ghosts.
The immediate reaction to Overwatch 2's announcement was one of confusion. Overwatch 1 was a monetized game with a thriving player base and regular updates. The kind of game that doesn't need a sequel. So this was a strange move. Overwatch 2's development would also mean the end of support for Overwatch 1 in 2020, with us seeing no new Overwatch content for multiple years, essentially killing the game. What? But with Overwatch 2, Blizzard reassures us it was all worth it. Just look at all this new stuff. 5v5 instead of 6v6, shiny new graphics, balancing changes, map reworks, 6 new maps, 3 new heroes, more than 30 new skins, a new game mode, a battle pass and cosmetics shop, and most importantly, a PvE campaign. People had been longing for a story in the Overwatch universe, and now it was finally happening. And it was ambitious. Blizzard shows off a full campaign, along with hero missions, talents, and massive skill trees unique to each hero. Hundreds of missions at launch, they announce. A truly replayable campaign. And don't worry, with Overwatch 2, Blizzard tells us they were redefining what a sequel really means. Overwatch 1 players get all the new maps, updates, and heroes that release in Overwatch 2, and both player bases can cross-play together. The purchase of Overwatch 2 essentially only granting the PvE mode. Okay, sold. Players are on board. 10th of March 2022, and Blizzard has an announcement. Look, we know we said hundreds of missions at launch, but, well, it's taking a while, so we're just going to release the game now without it, and add it later. Then in June, they come out again. The game's now free to play, and launching in October. But anyway, on the 4th of October 2022, it goes live. There are some issues. Events are bad, tons of balancing issues, the looking for group feature is now just completely gone, but mainly, there's the new cosmetics system. In Overwatch 1, earning cosmetics was simple. Just play the game, level up, and earn loot boxes that give you skins. You could pay for them, but that was completely optional. In Overwatch 2, things are different. Blizzard has now slapped on a seasonal battle pass system, where the bulk of cosmetics would now be unlocked. There's also a rotating store, and the prices there aren't great. You can unlock skins for free through the challenge system, but there's a problem. It takes about 8 months to get one. A simple character recolor takes almost 4 weeks. All of this means that it will take you around 327 years to get all the stuff you could get relatively quickly for free in Overwatch 1. Better get playing. Also, there's now a new hero every other season, and they'd be locked behind the later levels of the season pass. Your options are, spend every minute of your life grinding for them, or pay up.
Give me money.
In Overwatch 1, they were unlocked straight away. Fans don't take kindly to these changes. But then in May 2023, Blizzard comes out again. So, that PvP hero campaign that we've been advertising, and was pretty much the sole reason we made the sequel in the first place, pretty much completely scrapped. No more talent trees or hero missions. Instead, we're just gonna pepper some PvE missions around every few seasons.
What?
What the This was essentially the entire selling point for the sequel. Some of the remaining story content is still planned, with its first release on August 10th. But when it finally releases, it's only 3 missions. Blizzard is saying the game won't be getting any more story missions until at least 2024. They also add Overwatch 2 to Steam, and it instantly becomes the worst reviewed game of all time there. The year is now 2023. and Blizzard's reputation has never been worse. So when Diablo 4's release approaches, people are cautious. But on the 5th of June, the game launches. And it's surprisingly good. There are some issues here and there, but reviews are mostly positive, and over 10 million people log in and play, making Diablo 4 Blizzard's fastest selling game of all time. For the first time in years, things are actually looking up. And this game was live service, meaning it would receive 3 seasons of content for the foreseeable future. The first of which was launching in July. A month later, and in July, Season 1 of the game drops. It is disastrous, and Reddit goes into a complete meltdown. Turns out, everything gets a big nerf, including the Metacritic score. The Sorcerer class, which was already underpowered, is hit especially hard. Then there's the enemies being overpowered, much less XP, a bunch of reskinned dungeons and enemies, barely any new content, and 0 quality of life changes.
Everything here is wrong.
One streamer on Twitch tries to explain why the season isn't that bad. Here's how that goes.
Explosion is at... I actually just lost my hardcore character while trying to explain this to you. I changed my mind. I hate this season.
And it seems Blizzard also has a bit of a fixation on the
Battle Pass, Battle Pass, Battle Pass,
Battle Pass.
Battle Pass, Battle Pass.
Speaking of which, it gives paid players 666 platinum. The cheapest item in the store is 800. Also, back when Blizzard was designing the menus for the game, they decided to place the Activate Premium Battle Pass button right next to the button you're constantly pressing to see your season progression.
Ooh, that's kind of small.
There's also no confirmation button, so if you want to check your progression and accidentally misclick, congratulations, you've just purchased it. There are multiple other confirmation buttons for other menu options in the game. So Blizzard's last few years haven't been great.
Somehow, Blizzard is now worse than Bethesda!
It had slowly become clear to people.
That's...
With overreach from Activision.
Whoa. What a fucking hilarious sentence. Somehow Blizzard's worse than Bethesda. Yo. And it's true. It's so true. It's so wild. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Division, more fiscal concern, and most of the original talent having left the company, among other things. Maybe Blizzard wasn't the company it once was, and after a back-to-office mandate in 2023, even more talent is leaving. So much talent that Blizzard is now actually creating crisis maps for what content they can and can't get done. But with the acquisition from Microsoft, who's currently focusing on making good exclusives to slap on their Game Pass, some fans are hopeful for change. But for now, the outlook on Blizzard Entertainment remains bleak.
Man. So, like, I just have to laugh. Like, that's the best I can do here. Blizzard is garbage. They fell apart. They stopped caring about the community, and that's like really the biggest thing that happened. And it was really shown off in Overwatch. Like, Overwatch came out and there were huge communities that wanted to build around it, and Blizzard was constantly just being like, no, the Overwatch League, that's what we're gonna do. We have to do the Overwatch League. That's everything. We don't really give a fuck about what all of y'all want to do. Oh man, when Heroes of the Storm was removed, I was part of Tempo Storm at the time. And Tempo Storm, they had a team, and I remember listening to all these kids talking about how they're gonna like lose their scholarships to colleges and university and stuff, and Blizzard was just like, sucks to be you guys. It was bad. It was really bad. Blizzard's garbage. I hope nobody out there is supporting them like that. Anyway, this is Waywatcher. Follow for more stuff. We're going to do stuff like this all the time. We're definitely going to get into more of this. If you want to join the community Discord, hop in. Link in the description. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.